I wrote my paper on Disney princesses and their history of being poor role models for little girls. Disney princesses are a bit more problematic than even I care to admit. Having grown up in the heyday of Disney princesses, I have an attachment to them. But as I've grown older, that attachment has turned into a desire for stronger, more depth, and just a general wider variety of female role models. And to actually be able to talk about the faults of Disney princesses, we need to know where they came from. The princesses in the stories started out as fairy tales from the Brothers Grimm. The Brothers Grimm lived in a time where any non-biblical story had to have a lesson tied to it. These lessons taught that strong, independent women who had maybe a little bit of power had a mind of their own and were either a sorceress or an evil queen who wanted you dead. And the heroines of the story weren't necessarily heroines. The values put upon the princesses were meekness, quietness, and obedience. This reinforced the sexist behaviors at the time where men needed to be in power, and the women were subservient to them. These fairy tales also idealized the hegemonic male, making the actual hero of the story not whom it was named for, but the prince who swooped in halfway through and saved her. Now, there's nothing wrong with needing to be rescued, but what is wrong in this situation is a lack of fairness of representation between men and women. The young, handsome prince, who we almost knew very little about, would be able to save the day simply because he was male. These sexist tendencies followed the stories as they made their way into the Disney movies. Around the 50s, also an era in which women were supposed to be subservient to men and not allowed to have a mind of their own. Because these movies were made for children, both boys and girls watched them. Girls being a more frequent audience, even to this day, and the audiences are almost always under the age of 12, a time where socialization is still happening and norms are being challenged. This leads to the children who watch these movies having the idea that women are inferior and need to be saved. The other way that this could be taken is that the only way to succeed in life is to marry a prince. I know a couple of women who would love this option. But this is extremely hard in the modern day and age, and it is the extreme lack of royalty that makes it hard. I have not been the only one searching for better female role models. Women who force their way into the television and film industry also make a path for stronger female characters. Buffy, Xena, even with the latest release of Wonder Woman. One can look at more recent stories that Disney has pushed out about princesses. The Princess and the Frog, Frozen, Brave, and Moana have all been released recently, and their stories value not a subservient woman, but hard work, sisterhood, the challenging of one's destiny, and the sense of adventure, all respectively. These films are set in a wide variety of places, from New Orleans to Scotland to the Pacific Islands, forcing these creators to show a variety of powerful women with different body types and skin tones, not just a white female. None of the princesses in the movies start off looking for a man or for love. They're all driven by their own needs and desires. Another company that I have found producing more empowering female role models are the two women who produced Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls. These are books featuring 100 women. In these books, they showcase the amazing histories of these real-life women, all who were able to take their lives into their own hands and live how they chose. Women like Serena Williams, Jane Goodall, and Michelle Obama are featured, showing little girls and boys alike that they can do more through kindness, ingenuity, and determination than just marry a prince and live happily ever after. And honestly, isn't confidence to make a difference the one thing that we should be able to pass down to future generations? Thank you.